Welcome to 21st Sports 2015 season preview for the Philadelphia Eagles. We're going to go over the roster and the season schedule and make predictions for every single game. And so let's start off, though, with the roster first. There's been a lot of roster changes in this offseason for the Eagles. It's like a whole new team. As we got a new quarterback in Sam Bradford. They traded for Sam Bradford with Nick Foles with the Rams. And so Sam Bradford is a guy that, he hasn't been able to stay healthy. Injuries have been a problem for him so far in his career. But if he can be healthy, Sam Bradford can take the Eagles far this year and in the future. He's very accurate, and he really is a stud at quarterback. So it was a big pickup for them to get Sam Bradford. They said they were able to unload Foles and get Bradford because of the injury problems that Bradford has had. And if Foles was really that good, they wouldn't have got rid of him. So then at running back, we have DeMarco Murray, the leading rusher from last year, the running back champion. And this is the first time that the running back champion is left through free agency and gone to a new team the next year. And the thing that a lot of people haven't necessarily been talking about is that DeMarco Murray and Sam Bradford were teammates at Oklahoma, so they're very familiar with each other. They have a very close bond and a kinship, and they know each other. They're able to read each other. They already played quite a bit together at the collegiate level, so they already got that rapport. And DeMarco Murray, although he carried a heavy workload last year, he won't be asked to necessarily do that much in the Philadelphia offense when you figure that he's got Ryan Matthews and Darren Sproles backing him up. And even if he regresses in terms of his rushing yard total, he was over 1,800 yards last year, so even if he gets 1,500 or 1,600, he'll still be in the top 5. So even with less rushing yards, he's still one of the top backs in the NFL regardless. And he can catch the ball, too. A lot of people don't realize how good DeMarco Murray is out of the backfield. And then at receiver, we have Jordan Matthews. Jordan Matthews had a pretty good year last year with the Eagles. He's one of few starters returning. He had 67 catches last year, 872 receiving yards, and 8 touchdowns. So he should have another big year at receiver for the Eagles. And then we also have Riley Cooper, Josh Huff, Miles Austin, the new acquisition, and also they drafted Nelson Aguilar. So they're very deep at the receiver position. They've got lots of talent, same as at running back. So this is a deep, deep team. They have incredible depth. And also at tight end, they got 2 tight ends that can catch the ball in Brent Selleck and Zach Ertz. So they have a very stacked offense, and they're going to put up a lot of points. They also like to run a real quick-paced offense. They like to run plays like every 20 seconds. It's crazy. It's like an offense on speed. It just goes. It's kind of like the K-Gun back in Buffalo when the Bills went to 4 straight Super Bowls. Of course, you know how that turned out, and the Eagles are hoping it turns out better for them this year and the years moving forward. But they're going to put up a lot of points, and they proved last year that they can score any which way but loose, as they scored on offense, defense, and special teams. And speaking of defense, let's go over their defense. The defense doesn't have as much changes as the offense, although they did have some key additions in their secondary with Byron Maxwell and Walter Thurman, who come over from the Seattle Seahawks, and both of them are Super Bowl champions from 2 years ago. But up front at the defensive end, you have Fletcher Cox and then Cedric Thornton. Then nose tackle Benny Logan. Then the linebacking core, Connor Barwin on the outside, as well as Brandon Graham. And then on the inside, D'Amico Ryans and Michael Kendricks. Then you also have Kiko Alonso, who was part of that trade where they sent McCoy to Buffalo, and then they got Alonso in return. And then, of course, as I said, the corners, you got Byron Maxwell, who is a premier corner, and then Nolan Carroll. And at safety, you got Walter Thurman and then Malcolm Jenkins. So they have a pretty good secondary. I like their linebacking core as well. They got a lot of talent there. And up front, Fletcher Cox and Cedric Thornton are beasts on the outside. So they can, get after the quarterback, and they play, a very interesting style at defense. They take some risks, but they also get those rewards, and they force turnovers, whether it be interceptions or fumbles, and their defense is capable of scoring. and so is their special teams. And of course, on special teams, a big threat is Darren Sproles returning punts. Then also at kicker, you got Cody Parkey. He's a good kicker. Donnie Jones is their punter. As I said, Sproles returning those punts is always a threat to score. And then kick returns, you got Josh Huff and Kenyon Barner. And Nelson Aguilar might get in the mix as well. So they've got a really good special teams. Like I said, all around the Eagles roster is pretty stacked top to bottom. They've got tons of talent. They got a good coaching staff. And I think it's going to bring them pretty far. I believe they're going to win the AFC East. But let's go over the schedule and see how that all breaks down, how we have it picked, and have them moving forward in the season. So starting off week 1, September 14th, Monday Night Football, part of a double header, as they'll be playing the early game on Monday Night Football with a 7:10 p.m. Eastern kickoff time in Atlanta versus the Falcons on the road. I believe they start off the season with a win against the Falcons. I think the Falcons will be improved this year, but I think the Eagles just got too much firepower. They're just going to put up so many points. I mean, you could see a very high total in that game. So then week 2, September 20th, Sunday, a late start at 4:25 p.m. Eastern time in Philadelphia against division rivals, the Dallas Cowboys. And I believe they can beat the Cowboys. There'll be a real quick return on DeMarco Murray going against his former team. Of course, they see each other twice, and right here in week 2, we get to see that matchup, DeMarco Murray versus his former team. It would be interesting to see what he does against the Cowboys. He should probably have a really big game, and I believe the Eagles will win that one. So in week 3, September 27th, another Sunday game, 1 o'clock kickoff in New York against the Jets. And I think they just got too much for the Jets to handle. They'll shut them down. They'll force turnovers. And this is a game where you could see the Eagles scoring on offense, defense, and special teams and really running up the score. So I think they're going to win that one. That leads us to week 4, October 4th, 1 o'clock kickoff in Washington, D.C. against the Redskins. And there's going to be too much for the Redskins to handle. This is another division game, and I believe they can beat Washington on the road, and they should win this one running away with it. And then we have week 5, October 11th, another Sunday game at 1 o'clock, as they'll be hosting the New Orleans Saints in Philadelphia, and I believe they will beat the Saints. Like I said, the Saints, they got a decent offense. It'll be interesting to see, though, how they are without Jimmy Graham. But they don't have enough defense to stop the Eagles, that's for sure, and the Eagles will win this one. So that brings us to the Eagles' second Monday night game of the season in Week 6, October 19th, 8:30 kickoff time, and that's going to be against the Giants in Philadelphia, and I believe they'll beat their division rival as they'll remain undefeated in the division and in the conference and in the NFL overall at this point in the season. I think the Giants don't got enough defense to stop the Eagles' high-powered offense. So then week 7, we have a Sunday night game, back-to-back primetime games, their third primetime game of the season, their first Sunday night game of the season, 8:30 kickoff. And this one's going to be in Carolina against the Panthers. And I believe they will beat the Panthers. I think the Panthers are going to have a really tough year this year. They didn't really have that good of a year last year, even though they won their division, but it was the worst division in football. I think the Eagles won't have much problem running up the score on Carolina. They're in prime time. So that leads them to their bye week. So they go into the bye week 7-0, undefeated at this point in the season. And then coming out of the bye week, week 9, November 8th, another Sunday night game, back-to-back Sunday games for the Eagles, although they have the bye week in between. Their fourth primetime game of the year, as a lot of people want to watch this Eagles team and see what they're all about. And so this game right here is going to be played in Dallas, their second game against the Cowboys. And I believe the Cowboys win this one, and that will be the first loss for the Eagles in the season. Split the season series with Dallas, both teams winning in their respective homes. And I think it just comes down to the home field advantage here. Although the Eagles could potentially beat the Cowboys, but these two teams always play really tough physical battles. And so I think that this one ends up going the Cowboys' way. Somehow they find a way to win this one. I don't know how, but they will win this one in my opinion. So that leads us to Week 10, and I believe they bounce back November 15th, Sunday, 1 o'clock kickoff at home against Miami, and Miami's one of the toughest teams this year, in my opinion, but I believe the Eagles will bounce back after that tough loss against the Cowboys and get back in the win column against Miami. So then in Week 11, November 22nd, 1 o'clock kickoff, they host their second straight Florida team as the Buccaneers come to Philadelphia this time. And I believe they'll beat their second straight Florida team, the NFC's Florida team, after having faced one of the AFC's Florida teams. They have two Florida teams, but anyway, they beat the Buccaneers, and it'll be welcome to the NFL, Jameis Winston, as they're going to be showing him a lot of looks that he has never seen before. And so that'll be an interesting game to watch. I think the Buccaneers actually be really good this year. I think they're actually going to win the South, but I think that the Eagles win this game. So that takes us to Week 12, November 26th, and this is on Thanksgiving, and it's a 12:30 p.m. kickoff time against the Lions. A classic matchup right here is the Lions always play on Thanksgiving, and on Thanksgiving, the Lions win. And that's the Lions always play on Thanksgiving, and I believe that they will hand the Philadelphia Eagles their second loss of the season. So then Week 13, December 6th, at 4:25 kickoff on a Sunday, they go to Foxborough to face the New England Patriots, and they lose their second consecutive time. The only time this year that they're going to lose consecutive games, and the final game I have them projected as losing in the season, their third loss of the season. And, it's in Foxborough. That's the thing. It'd be maybe a different story in Philadelphia, but in Foxborough, I believe the Patriots will win this one. So then Week 14, December 13th, Sunday at 1, they host the Buffalo Bills, part of a 3-game stretch at home where they're going to bounce back after losing 2 games in a row for the first time, and they'll go on a winning streak for the rest of the season, starting off by beating the Buffalo Bills, who just don't have enough offense to keep up with the Philadelphia Eagles, who are going to be running up the score all season long. So in Week 15, December 20th, 1 o'clock, Sunday kickoff, we got them hosting the Arizona Cardinals, their second straight home game in this 3-game stretch. Arizona's a really tough team with a really good defense, but I believe the Eagles can win this one, especially it's in Philadelphia. That gives them the edge. So then in Week 16, December 26th, it's a Thursday night game, 8:25 kickoff, their final primetime game. These are the 6 primetime games for the Philadelphia Eagles this year, and this one is their final home game, and it's against division rivals, the Redskins, who I believe they'll beat earlier in the season, Week 4 in Washington, and I think they'll have no problem beating them in Philadelphia, blowing them out in Philadelphia at this point, and that will pretty much be, that will secure the division title right there, which they should already pretty much have well in hand. But then Week 17, to finish off the season, January 3rd, 1 p.m. on a Sunday, they'll be going to New York to face the Giants. And this could potentially be a battle for the division. I don't have it projected to be that myself, but I believe other people do. But I think they will beat the Giants and sweep the season series as they did against the Redskins. So I think they'll sweep the Redskins and the Giants, split with the Cowboys. They end up 13-3 overall, and they win the NFC East, and they go into the playoffs. And in the playoffs, I believe they're going to be the number 2 seed. And then in the playoffs, they have the first round bye. And at that point, in the divisional round, against the Seattle Seahawks. So the Eagles is the number 2 seed. I have them hosting the number 3 seed Seattle in the divisional round, and I have Seattle upsetting Philadelphia in the divisional round. So they make the playoffs at 13-3, win the NFC East, but then lose their first playoff game, and that's going to drive everybody in Philly crazy, which that should be a familiar feeling for Philadelphia fans. Is every year the Eagles do something that gets everybody pissed off in Philly, and that's what it's going to be. It's going to be a great season, and then the playoffs is just going to be like, ooh, and it's just going to come down, and crash. But the thing is about that is that I think that's because they're a team that's newly formed. So it's tough for a team that's got so many changes in personnel to actually go that far in the playoffs. I think they'll have a phenomenal season, put up lots of points, but then come playoff time, that's when things get risen to another level where not having spent the time together is going to come into focus, and it's going to be, detrimental to them, to where the Seahawks are a team that has been together, they've been through the battles, and that's where I think they have the edge against Philadelphia and knock them out of the playoffs. But the Philadelphia Eagles will be back next year to make another run and go even further, so it's something they'll be building upon that success. First you win the division, then you try to win the conference, and then you win the Super Bowl. Of course, you would hope, if you're an Eagles fan, that they just go all the way, and that is a very real possibility. If they can stay healthy, they definitely have a chance to go all the way. Although I'm not picking them to, I would not be surprised to see the Eagles finally, after all these years, they've never won a Super Bowl, they've been in the Super Bowl plenty of times, but they always, they're like the bridesmaid, never the bride, and maybe this year they get to be the bride. Maybe. It's possible. I could see that in the near future for sure. I don't think it'll be this year, but I would not be shocked. But let me know what you think in the comments section below. Definitely interested to read your thoughts and opinions. What do you think about all the roster changes? There's been quite a few in Philadelphia. It's like a whole new team. And what do you think about the season? And what do you think about the possibility of the playoffs? Where do you think they're going to finish in the season? Do you think they'll be the NFC East champions? And do you think they're going to go far in the playoffs or get knocked out right away? Either way, let me know what you think in the comments section below. As I said, I'm interested to read your thoughts and opinions. Thank you very much for listening. It is greatly appreciated. I hope you're having a good day and have a great weekend. And enjoy all the sports.